What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Creative Noeland podcast. On this episode, we're joined by international model and my good friend, Shelby Billingham. When you hear model, you might think, oh, that sounds easy. You just stand there and look pretty, right? Well, Shelby and I have been shooting together for 10 years now, and I can assure you that Shelby is not your conventional model and is way more than just a pretty face. From a young age, Shelby has always been drawn to creativity and was highly driven. Whether that was with music and playing the guitar, or dancing and performing at a high level with the English Youth Ballet. If she wants something, she'll make it happen. And as a result of this drive, it was a natural progression for Shelby to find herself in front of the camera, and at the age of just 17, she was signed to global model agency IMM. Having worked all over the world shooting for brands like Gucci, Flannels, Boohoo and Wella, to name just a few, Shelby gives us an insight into what it's like behind the scenes of the often glamorous illusion that is the fashion industry, the ups and the downs. But more importantly, we discussed the resilience, the drive and the adaptability that's needed to survive in what's, let's be honest, can be a really brutal industry sometimes. And it's this adaptability and drive that has seen Shelby go from strength to strength in her modelling career, and led to her exploring more of her other creative passions like music production and DJing, producing multiple tracks and playing at events and festivals in both Dubai and Ibiza, always striving to improve and be a little bit better than she was before. Always the natural performer, Shelby is also now acting, and landed herself her first extra role in the latest Mission Impossible film with Tom Cruise, and then moved swiftly on to a part in a future series of a very well-known BBC drama that I'm not allowed to say the name of at the moment. Shelby is ambitious and believes in opening doors for herself, and yet some of those doors were nearly closed permanently when Shelby received some bad advice from some so-called skincare professionals on a product that caused a major chemical burn to her face and resulted in her being hospitalised for 3 days and put on a ventilator just to keep her breathing. Once again, a testament to Shelby's resilience and determination, from being in a place where she thought she may never work in her chosen industry again, to healing, building her confidence back up, and once again pushing forward. As Shelby tells us, you've just got to ask yourself, how much do you really want it? Anyway, enough of me, let's get into it. Right, come on, Shelby, we've got this.
Yeah.
We've got this.
Okay.
It's been 10 years, Shelby. 2015 was the first time that we shot together.
That's crazy.
That is mad though, isn't it?
Yeah.
10 years of you and I shooting together. I guess my first thing is, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. And I'm going to start with probably quite an obvious question.
Mm-hmm.
But my first question is, what do you think is the biggest misconception people would have about being a model?
I think it's not just as a model. I think anything to do with influence and beauty, the fashion industry, a female sometimes. I think it's mainly just everyone presumes about this glam lifestyle. You don't really do much, you just look pretty. But it grinds on your confidence a lot. The pressure of constantly looking good. Why have I not been booked for this job? And you sometimes take it personally. You're forever comparing yourself. Yeah, it's just mainly that. And people don't take you seriously, or they think you're just a one-trick pony and you've got nothing, just an airhead. And
that's why I've got you on, because we're definitely going to find out from this that you're not a one-trick pony.
Yeah. I'd like to think, but anyway.
Yeah. So what is the reality of a modelling shoot? Everyone thinks it is this sort of glamorous lifestyle. Yeah. What is a reality of a shoot like for you?
Well, you are just the prop. You're the doll. You're kind of just there, in a sense.
To sell whatever product it is.
Yeah, of course. Like, it's quite robotic, especially if you're doing e-com. It's draining. But campaign shoots, don't get me wrong, like campaign shoots and your editorial beauty shoots, they're fun. You can get more of your personality into it, more creative, and show a bit of who you are and what you're into. And
are they few and far between, though? guess what I'm asking is, as we're living in a time of more content these days, are the creative shoots less? Are there
Of
less
course.
of them?
Like even e-commerce much now. It's a lot of social media. It's more influence, and it's more, since COVID especially, people want you to do your own makeup now. Full day shoots are now turned into a few hours because they want more social media content, iPhone content. Yeah, budgets and everything since COVID, it's just completely changed.
And do you think that's been a massive factor since the COVID thing?
Well, I think it's just technology and everything now. Like, you've got AI and the new Adidas advert, that's all generated through that, and you just wouldn't even have any clue that it is that.
Does that worry you?
Not really, no. I've never been a big worrier in anything, really. I know I should sometimes, but it's just life, isn't it? Anyone can be out of a job at any time, and you just have to keep on looking for that next thing, or keeping up to date with what's in, and how can you go that extra mile of standing out or pursue something different, so you're not just constantly focused on one thing in your life.
We'll definitely go into that, because you've definitely not focused on the one thing.
Yeah.
But how do we start? How do we get to Shelby? People might hate me for this, but obviously you've won the genetic lottery to some degree, and but you didn't start out as a model, did you?
No. I used to dance. So I danced for the English Youth Ballet when I was younger. So I've always performed, been in theatre.
What got you into that? Were you just a creative child, or
when I was younger, always?
Or?
No, nothing pushy. If anything, I took up my mum's whole life with it.
Really?
Yeah, I was competing around the UK every weekend. Some days I'd be out of school to dance in the ballet, costumes, everything. It's an upkeep. It's very expensive. It's very also disciplined.
Where did you find ballet?
I danced from a young age. Just went to dance school from the age of 3, 4. And then just fell in love with it and wanted to pursue it even more, and happened to be quite good on the feet.
Well, quite good to dance for the English Youth Ballet is a high level.
Yeah, so obviously you went from just competing and doing little shows, and then obviously auditioned and got the roles. Yeah, it just went from there, really.
What was an experience that you remember performing with the Youth Ballet?
In the Nutcracker and theatres.
Classic ballets.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fun.
But then what led you to stop dancing?
Just obviously the older you get and leaving school, I wanted my weekends, and you discover other things like boys.
Yeah, boys and going out and
different
having
lifestyles
fun.
As you get older, isn't it? And I just fell out of love with it. My performing side of it, I've always loved performing, but the dance side of it just wasn't for me anymore. So I went to college and then ended up getting signed by my first agency, IMM in London.
How did that happen?
Well, I always wanted to be in front of the camera, so I had a portfolio done, just a few little pictures. And then went down to London with my mum and did a walk-in with them and just got signed straight away. And then
how old were you?
Just turned 17.
Oh, wow. So
yeah.
pretty young.
And then I got my first shoot for Italian Wella and had all my hair chopped off. Yeah.
How did that feel?
I didn't care at the time, obviously, but yeah, it was just major money at the time. First big campaign for a big brand, considering it was my first ever shoot and signing. And then I was modelling part-time at college, and then it just started getting more busy, dropped out of college, and it all just took off. So,
what were you studying at college?
French, English and media.
French, English and media?
Yeah, don't ask me to speak French because I can't anymore.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and then it all just took off. So I was lucky in that sense, and I've modelled full-time since. So over 10 years.
Still going strong.
Still going. Yeah.
What was that like for a 17-year-old to be booked for such a high-profile campaign as your first job?
When I was going to castings in London by myself, darting around London, so I kind of grew up massively quick in that sense. Yeah. I've always been one to take on the world by myself anyway. I've always been independent and a go-getter and all of that. So, but no, it was great.
Was it overwhelming in any way?
Not one bit. I've never found anything like that overwhelming. For me, it's just kind of like natural, and I get a thrill off it, a buzz off it.
So it was for Italian Wella. Did you have to go to Italy, or was it shot here?
No, they came over here and they didn't really speak any English, and I was into massive, at the time it was when a set was, you've got 20 people on there, got about 10 people on my hair, my nails. It was when all the wind machines, you got all these big outfits, like proper editorial.
So you really felt like a superstar.
Yeah, it was great, but obviously I knew I had to have my hair cut, but at the time my hair was like long curls, and when I was young I used to dye my hair with toilet bleach because my mum didn't let me dye it, and it went ginger and all sorts, and I've always had pink. I thought I was Avril Lavigne. Never cared. So yeah, it didn't bother me, but afterwards. And I realised, obviously, they did it just for the magazine. So, you know, it was all quirky, like edgy. My fringe was up here. That's when I was like, oh my God. I was on the tube crying on the way back. And then I was like, got home. I was like, it is what it is. I'm getting paid a shitload of money for this. So, and it's what I want to do.
And your hair will grow.
Yeah. It's the industry, you know what you're getting into, and that's what you kind of have to sacrifice. But
as you said previously, you are the mannequin, essentially. You're there to perform.
Yeah.
And
but it's obviously, if
showcase.
it's something you want to do, you do it. It's like, if an actress was to get a role, they put on weight or they have to shave their head.
Yeah.
It's just what you kind of know.
Do you feel like there is an element of acting and performing being a model?
Yeah, of course. When I'm on set, I can literally just go from serious to like, I switch on into a role in a sense, do you know what I mean? And I feel whatever brand it is, you have to adapt to what it is they want and what it suits for the brand or the location or whatever. So,
and do you think dancing has helped with you in the knowledge of your body, how to hold your body, how to position your body?
Yeah, because obviously ballet, you're very poised and you have to hold yourself. So, yeah, it just helps.
Yeah, and some of the best models, like you say, can act and they can move and they can, I mean, from a photography point of view, the worst thing is getting a model that just stands there like a mannequin.
Yeah.
You know, although you are the mannequin, you don't want someone to just stand there.
Yeah, but even when I was younger, I used to just go in the mirror and pose to myself. I'd be like dancing, like singing as if I was a pop star. And I'd go on a train to a casting and think I was in a music video on the tubes and that. I've always just loved performing in my own head, like everything's a show. And
where does that come from?
I don't know. I think it's just in me. Yeah, when I was younger, I was used to watch musicals and obviously just through dancing from a young age, I've just loved performing. It, you know, from my family, been like showing videos, little pictures when I was younger, even at the age of 2 on there. I had a little guitar in my hand for Chris, who asks for a guitar, and I'm holding it correctly. And so I was always like the performer and the show artist in the family. Everything had to be about me.
Maybe it does make sense that you went on to become quite a successful model then, Shelby, bearing in mind. Okay, so over your 10-year career, what sort of things have you done? Have you got any standout moments, standout jobs, standout travels? Or
yeah, I'd probably say there was a year or so where I was back-to-back campaigns. So I literally went from Dubai to Paris and to Barcelona. There was no in-between going home. But yeah, some people it would freak them out where they have to kind of go home to a base, but that's never been for me. I love traveling. I love living out of a suitcase because I get bored in one place. So in that sense, it was great. And it was just like traveling and at a young age doing all these massive campaigns abroad in front of like the Eiffel Tower and everything. So
can you remember what any of these campaigns were for?
Yeah, I did Gym King in Dubai, Hair Choice in Barcelona, for the Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo.
Yeah. All those major
I did Flannels. I did a Gucci shoot.
So the list is long of things.
And obviously like music videos back in the day. You know, you'd get flown.
Of course,
you'd get flown everywhere. It's when music videos were a big thing. And
models would feature in music videos. Yeah.
But no, it's great. Constantly meeting new people and you don't know what's going to come from it. And it's a very sense that you have to be very good at socialising, very good at almost being a chameleon.
Adaptable.
Yeah.
Whose music videos have you been in? Would we know any of these people, or are they all artists that have been out of date?
Out of date now, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You just don't want anyone Googling. That's what you do. You don't want.
And we'll move on to the next one.
Okay, well, I might go and do some research for our listeners and we can go and hunt down one of Shelby's old music videos. She's been very coy about that. But music's always been quite a thing for you, because this is where we add another string to the bow of...
Even just from a young age, I grew up on like Motown with my mum and just always loved my music, obviously from dancing, I just loved it anyway. Like, I remember in school I played the electric guitar. I wanted to be like Avril Lavigne, so I went through every stage.
Is this when you had the pink hair?
Yeah, yeah.
How long did you play the guitar for?
It's out of school, so I can still play now, yeah. I go on my guitar.
Do you?
Yeah, like I've just got an acoustic again, so I'm getting back on it. Like, I went to my first ever concert, my dad used to take me to the Arctic Monkeys was the first ever one when they first came about, and it was Annie Mac's newest band, and it was in Wolverhampton. There was only like 100 people. Yeah, and then obviously when I was 18, I went to every festival going, Ibiza from a young age. Saw my first ever DJ, I was like, I want to be a DJ.
Yeah.
And then got home, bought some decks, had some lessons, and yeah, that's where all my DJing and production then goes from.
Yeah, so this is where we talk about the different strings to your bow.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you say, you get restless, you get bored in one place. Did you get bored with the modelling that made you?
No, not at
Or was
all.
it just this,
That was still very much in like my peak, and
but it was just an underlying passion that you wanted to have a go at this thing?
yeah, and it's like, why just do one thing in life? At first, I wasn't even thinking anything of it. I was just a bit of fun, like, and I just loved my music and
So
raves.
it was more just playing at home?
Yeah, obviously I knew I wanted to do something with it. Anything I want to do is I would have to take it to the extreme of push it to the limit and see how far I can get in it. That's just me, like
100 miles an hour.
Yeah, if I'm good at something, I want to, you know, like I said, I'm always like, I want to be on show. I want to do it as a show. I want to perform. I love perform. Like, I just love performing.
So how did you take the bedroom DJ and the practicing?
I just got some mixes done and sent them to every club I knew, networked, and obviously I was good. So,
did you have any pushback from people just going, "Oh, it's just a model"? You just
yeah, of course. I had a separate music page. I wouldn't say I was a model. I didn't associate it, and I wouldn't send any pictures or anything because I've always wanted to do it as in I want people to listen to me. Could have done the easy route of, oh, I'm this fit female DJ, I'm a model, and done it for the wrong reasons, dressed sexy. And I've never, ever done that. And I think that's why sometimes I do step away from it because there's this whole stigma of it. And it's like, no, I am actually damn good. I do produce very well. And I'll show that when I actually like play, but I've never played on the whole model thing. It goes against everything I believe in music. I'd rather not get booked. But I actually play because I love music. I don't play for the clout. I think the whole music scene is about at the moment.
You want it to be on merit.
Yeah, it goes against everything I believe in, like doing music and for the love of it and the art of it, not just because I know I'm going to make money and tour the world as a female DJ.
Do you think you've ever been booked because you're a female?
I think females do have nowadays a bit of an advantage, but it's still very male orientated. There is a lot of setbacks and slating. I think that's just with anything, isn't it? Anyone's got a few followers or whatever, they're only booked because of that. And it's just like anything. Anyone can say anything about anyone, can't they? Like,
competition's healthy, though.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
And especially if you're good at what you do.
I don't like anything that's too easy, though. Like, I like to work for it. I like to have something that drives me even more. So I'm going to, no, I am going to be the best. I am going to do better. I am going to stand out. So I think that's good to have in life.
The journey's always better than the destination.
Of course. You're always going to have setbacks and ups and downs. That's just life. But it's depending how far you want to go and how much you love something, want something. Anyone can do anything they want in life if they want it bad enough. You know, anyone can have an excuse like, oh, it's not working out because of this, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes that's just excuses, isn't it?
Yeah, people do make a lot of excuses. So you say you were DJing, but you're also doing music production as well. So you're not just playing out other people's tunes, you're making your own tunes as well.
Yeah, I will sit in my bedroom just like, not even for a purpose of it going anywhere. I just love making music. I'll just zone out and I'll be there for hours and hours knowing I've got to shoot the next day and I've had 1 hour sleep.
How did that go down on the shoots the next day?
Oh, it's fine. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I'll literally turn up absolutely knackered and as soon as I'm there, I switch out of it and I'm there, I'm professional. I always do my jobs. I'm in, out, always give my best. And
do you find it easy to flip into that character?
Yeah. Definitely. My job, isn't it?
Yeah, but
I'm getting paid. It's what I'm there for.
True, but
and it's kind of just natural too.
Yeah, but like you say, we all go through
I run off better with not much sleep. I'll have my little breaks that I always recuperate and look after myself. But then if I have too much sleep, I find myself more lazy and my mind's just 100 miles an hour. I need to be doing something. I'm just, when I'm older, I'll rest then. Life's too short.
Is this why you think you've gone dancing? Yeah. Modelling? Yeah. DJing? Yeah. Oh, I'll now elevate that to music production? Yeah.
No, I think it's just whatever I love or want to do at the time. I just do it.
Okay. So talk to me about DJing out. Talk to me about producing your own music. How long have you been doing that for?
I've been doing it for about 5 years now. Obviously, I was playing We Are Festival main stage. I was going to Ibiza, playing Dubai, playing. Got signed by Defected, but my record fell through. It was just before COVID.
Signed by Defected for one of your tunes?
My tune,
your production?
With my own vocals on, yeah. So,
wow.
But with music, like, I won't just sit down and think, I'm going to make this track because it's the in thing or it's the genre I play. Like, I've made tracks where I'm like, I wake up next and I'm like, what on earth is that?
What is the genre that you love playing out?
I love playing like deep house, melodic tech. I do love heavy techno, but I don't normally play that.
Does the stuff that you make fit into those genres?
Yeah, but then I just can't sit and like force anything. Whatever comes out, comes out. Some days I won't make anything. Some days I've made like 3 different whole tracks and I wouldn't even say there's a genre on it. It's just whatever comes out. And I love interpreting like my old taste, like indie, Motown, everything, like, and like switching it up to like my genre.
So there's a lot of influences then in the music that you produce,
Yeah.
even though it's within that EDM.
So obviously, I love classical, I love indie, I love rock,
coming
country,
from your ballet background, you must
country, Motown, soul, everything. Like, just love music.
Well, we talk about that a lot on the podcast. We're a product of the inputs.
Yeah, and obviously, like through my dance and everything, I know my beats, I know obviously like music and
tempo.
So kind of just, it's very natural to me to like produce.
I never knew that you had a record nearly signed to Defect. That's big.
I know, it's good. So that gives me the push to carry on doing it. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say, did that give you that confidence?
Yeah, of course it does. It's a bit of like when you first ever signing is such a big label, and it's just, I taught myself to produce really. Obviously I had lessons and whatnot, but I taught myself and trial and error, and I didn't have an agent. Nothing, none of my bookings like, for the Boohoo Festival, I never had an agent. I just pushed myself. I just sent it to every email I could find, any network I found, any DJ I knew, and just sent it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then got loads of responses. Some were like, no, or like, no, we don't feel it's right. But it's the same. I've been used to that through modelling, through castings from a young age. So I'm used to like...
You built that resilience.
Yeah, of course. It's like anything in life. That's what I'd say. It's just don't give up, because one door shuts, another opens, and you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It could be, look at all the major artists back in the day or even now. Some people think that, oh my God, it's an absolute batshit crazy idea. And it would be years before someone even picks up and says, no, you're different. But they stick to their guns and they think, no, someone will like it one day. Someone will pick up on it. And then they end up becoming icons. Because they didn't just fit in and they didn't just go with the flow and didn't give up at the first hurdle. Just have self-belief, haven't you?
But a lot of people struggle with that. I think building that resilience in the modelling industry, which let's face it, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, of course.
And for any young woman, it's
well,
a lot
not
to
so
take.
much now, because people have to be careful what they say nowadays with the whole mental health and everything. But back in the day, it was cutthroat. You'd literally go to a casting with your book, you'd stand there, they'd just blank expression, or you get, no, you need to lose weight, or they would tell you why you haven't got that casting. And it's a bit soul destroying, but at the same time, I've never really listened to stuff like that. Never let anything get to me. If anyone said anything about me, or obviously like it dwells on you a bit and it does stay with you a bit, but at the same time I'm just like, oh, whatever. But that's just always been me kind of thing. Like,
I was going to say,
I'm an overthinker, but not to the depth of where it comes from someone else. Because I've been there, I've done that from a young age. I've let what people say get to me, and I'm just done years of that. I'm just like, whatever, just let it go over my head.
But it's taken you those years to build that resilience.
Yeah. But a lot of my own criticism would come from myself, not someone else.
Your
but
own
sometimes
harshest.
If someone tells me no, or you're not going to achieve this, it makes me more determined to do it and prove everyone wrong. Whereas my own self is my own worst enemy sometimes. I get my own head about stuff, but I've started to let all that go now.
Where does that drive come from?
I just always had it.
You always wanted it, you were just going to go out and get it?
Yeah.
Do you think that comes from the ballet days and having that early recognition of how good you were and going, well, I've worked for this and I've got recognition?
Not really, no, because dance, like, I wasn't the best dancer. Obviously I was good, but competing, like at times I'd always get third. It was like, I know I'm not the best, so I was.
But does that build resilience? Because you know you can be better.
Yeah, but I think anyone thinks like that.
No, but
you can be at the peakest, and it's just like, how can I now go further?
But what I'm saying is, if you come first every time,
you
know you're the best.
Yeah,
whereas if you come second, third, you go, oh, what could I have done?
I suppose it's like when artists and they get to the peak of their career and they stop being that creative because it's like, well, I don't need to work for my next single. But then someone else will now take over because they're more hungry for it. So you have to just always have that passion, and it all depends on the person, doesn't it? How much you still love something or want to be at the top of your A game, or even just not successful for other people, just for yourself.
But I think that's interesting when you're coming in second and third. There's always room for that improvement, which I know there is in all humans.
Yeah.
But I think that's an interesting driver to discover, whereas some young people might have used it, oh, I never win, throw your toys out the pram. I'm not going to analyze my performance. I'm not going to work out what I could do better to get to that level that I want. You've had that from a very young age, and you've taken that into not only modelling, where you've built the resilience to go, well, I came second and third in ballet, but I've built the resilience now
Yeah, but I've just always been that person. I love being around successful people. There's never any bitterness, jealousy, or I love seeing someone do well. It makes me want to do well in myself. Not do better, I'll just do well. Some days we're just human and like, do lack that bit of motivation, but then being around someone who's doing well in something, it gives you a whole new idea on other things you want to do in life, or just take a little snippet out of it. Keeps you going and gives you that extra drive rather than sat there all bitter and like, oh, well, that person's doing this, blah, blah, and beating himself up. If anything, it's no good for them. Yeah, they're smashing it. They should be smashing it because they're working hard and they're persistent. You know, they're not sat at home thinking it should be given to them on a plate.
I find that an interesting character trait to have.
Yeah. A lot of people would think, oh, you had this crazy, like, dance mum, but no, not at all. My mum's always like, whatever you want to do, you just be happy. If anything, it's me like, oh, mum, come on, I need this outfit. I need to go to Blackpool and compete. It's just always been something that I love and want to do. So, don't get me wrong, some days I have my days and I'm just want to sit and watch Netflix and have a glass of wine. But
yeah, but again, that's human nature.
That's when I sit at home and like, all of a sudden, crazy ideas come in. I'm like, okay, I want to try this now. I want to buy some paints if I can be a famous oil painter. That's just me in anything. Like,
it doesn't matter what
like
it
now
is.
I'm trying to pursue my acting, but that's because I've always loved films. And again, I love being a different characters and performing. So acting, why not?
There is a natural synergy between the ballet, performing, modelling, acting, all of those things. DJ and music is even.
Yeah.
You've already done some bits of acting though, haven't you?
I'm getting there. Yeah. At first, it wasn't even to try and get into acting. I just thought in between shoots, because again, I like to be always doing something. I know the money wasn't great and I wasn't ever thinking I was going to get anywhere, but I started doing a bit of extra work in between shoots. And for me, it was just a change of scenery from modelling, like being in a studio, and it was just something different, seeing how it goes on behind the sets. And so my first extra role was for the latest Mission Impossible film, and I ended up filming Tom Cruise for 2 months. And
if you pay close attention, everyone, you'll see Shelby as
I'm the air hostess
at one of the airports.
Filming for 2 months, like 12-hour days. Speaking to Tom Cruise, he was doing his Birmingham accent. I was like giving him a whole Texas accent and whatnot. And he was like, have you got an agent? I was like, no, why do you want to be mine? Like, I was one of them. I was like, right, every time they said, obviously as an extra, you're not meant to be in focus, you're not meant to be seen, you are just in the background. And I was like, hell no, like I'm going to make sure I'm noticed. I'm not filming for 2 months and just everyone go to cinema and just my ears in it. I was like, no. So every time they said film, I had to be 3 steps behind, and I was like, made sure I was 2 steps behind. And then they were like, don't look at camera. And I'd just be like, okay, little glance to the side. And it ended up working. Like people were in the cinema like, Shelby, is that you? I was like, oh my God, I've made it. Yes, that is me. Little screenshot, that is me. Like how many people can show the picture like I'm with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just started doing a lot more of extra work. I had to do, it's called Domino Day. It was BBC drama, which came out last year. I was an extra role. And then obviously me being a big personality on set, the director was like, have you ever done improv? And I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, I definitely haven't, but you know, I'm going to wing it. And then ended up having a little speaking role. So yeah, I ended up taking over the actress at the time who was meant to be speaking. So they were like just improv. So I was like, blah, 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 blah. And then obviously I was like watching telly, totally forgot about it because it comes out like a year later. And I was there and I was like, oh my God, it's me. So that came out. And
sex education as well.
I was the stand-in for that, yeah, body double. So yeah, I was only like behind the camera.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah, but no.
Well, like you say, to get an experience of
in
being
2
on
weeks,
these
I've got
sets.
my first feature role in it's very well-known BBC drama. So, and it's a speaking one, and that's in 2 weeks. Start filming.
Okay, that would be interesting for us to.
Yeah.
You've been very elusive. I'm sure you've signed NDAs, so you can't talk about the BBC drama. So
No.
we'll just wait with bated breath.
Now I'm just trying to push it. Like I'm trying to get an agent and headshots and show reels, and just go to any audition I can. Yeah, it's just one of them. I'll just keep at it until hopefully it goes somewhere. But
you're still modelling. You're still doing the music.
Yeah.
So
I had a break last year due to mental health, and then started getting back into it. And then,
when you say you had a break for mental health, that must be a massive issue in this industry.
Yeah. I lost my best friend to suicide about 3-4 years ago. I kind of like didn't deal with it at the time, and it all just come at me at once, and split up with an ex-partner, and I was drinking too much, and mental health I've always kind of suffered with, but it all just came crashing down, and I was in a really dark place. I was living on my own, which I should have probably just gone home and had support, but I'm always one of them. I'm very closed in, and one day I just pop I don't deal with my emotions when I should talk more, and it does help to talk. That's the one thing I'd say to anyone. Pick up a phone or just talk to a stranger, anything, write it down, give it to someone, anything.
So when you're feeling like that, it's almost impossible to go and turn the character on.
Yeah, but some days I just wouldn't, I'd be miserable at work and I wasn't turning up to work. I was hungover, drinking, just didn't want to be around anyone. Self-destruct mode, really. And then got out of it.
This is it might be too personal, but how do you get out of that situation? How do you, with someone with so much drive and determination? I had a very, very good support system, family-wise. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had my setbacks and I still struggle sometimes, but I think you get to the point where you get sick of yourself, to the point where you're destroying relationships around you, destroying your life, destroying your career, your health deteriorating. And it's just like, if I carry on, I got to the point I was a bit scared and I knew what I was doing, and I could see people getting upset around me. I was upsetting myself. And I just thought, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to give in. I'm going to keep fighting. Every day's a battle. But yeah, so luckily work kind of saves me when I pick myself back up and push myself for work and keep busy. One day it's just little steps of getting back in the gym. Then the next is like, I've got another booking because I've pushed myself. I've started even just putting a bit of lip gloss on, putting my joggers on, washing my hair, just little things, do you know what I mean? Rather than sitting at home and in the dark or binging or whatever. Yeah, it's the tiny steps sometimes.
And then you just start feeling better in yourself, and work picked back up. And then I had a little feature role in a film in Manchester for a feature film. So I was practicing my lines, and I had like a bit of stress acne at the time. And I know it sounds mad, I've never had problems with my skin. I know it's not a major thing, but I never have.
No, but for your industry, it's a
so I had like a little few like red under the skin spots, like normal people do, anyone does. And I was just like, okay, I'm filming in 2 days. I went to, I can't say at the moment because I've got a legal court case going on. So went to a well-known brand, had a consultation, they're a proper dermatological brand, and I've got a video of how my skin was on the day and all the investigating that's going through, and the private skin hospitals and doctors they've sent me to. Basically, they should have just turned me away and said, we're not putting anything on your skin. You've got to go see your doctor because of how flared it is and you shouldn't put anything on it, basically. But they were obviously just trying to sell me whatever. And then I was in Manchester practicing my lines and followed the skincare person's instructions. And then I woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't breathe. And basically my face I was swollen. My face was pussing. It was bleeding. It was burning. So I panicked and I was in Manchester and I was like, right, I was getting to the point it was absolutely killing. My eye was swollen. My throat was just, I couldn't breathe. And it was just getting worse and getting bigger and bigger on my cheek. And it was just like this open hole that was appearing. And I was like, oh my God, what on earth? So I panicked and I was like, right, all I can think of was driving down to my mum's and I'll go to the doctor in the morning if it don't get better. Got in my car and then halfway down the M6, stopped off to get some petrol, and as soon as the air hit it, it just expanded, and like it was just, I can't even explain what was coming out of it, and I just couldn't breathe. My whole face was like, it was mental. So I was like, I drove myself straight to Heartlands Hospital, and then straight away they admitted me to majors for 3 days. I had a major chemical burn to my face. They thought I was going to get sepsis to the eye. It was spreading. They had to put a tube down my throat to make me breathe and whatnot. So I thought I was going to die. So I was in there for 3 days, and then, basically for the last 5-6 months, I've had a huge, huge scar on my face. Due to that, on the other side, I've had stress acne, which is now scarred. I'll probably get upset now, but it's been huge for me. My confidence. Am I going to work again? I know it sounds silly, but
it's your industry.
Eventually I'm going to, obviously I can't at the moment, but I am going to post the photos and everything just to let people aware of stuff. Still got a scar now, but I can finally, now it's only been the last few weeks, I can put anything on my skin, like anything. And just my whole confidence when, the last 6 months, and especially just coming out of hospital, the looks and stares I had, it's just, people just stare and people are like, oh my God, what's happened to her? And it just makes you think we take so many things for granted. I've only just started getting back into work, which is making me more hungry for work because I've missed working, and I finally got my confidence back again. But, it's been huge.
For someone that has built a career on how you look,
it's my job, but not just me, any female, but any human being, it's your face. And especially when it wasn't your fault, and I'm angry, I'm fuming, but at the same time, how much can you do about it? But the response from this company was just absolutely disgusting. I was offered a hamper
You were offered a hamper?
A hamper, yeah. So basically, it's a huge brand, multi-millionaire brand, probably billions, and they would basically shoo, go away, thinking I'm not going to do anything about it.
And we can't say the name of this brand for obviously legal reasons. No, I've got a
massive court case going on at the moment. It's going to court.
Very, very, huge. Very well-known
if I was to go on Good Morning Britain or whatever, it would absolutely tarnish the brand. But I'm going legal because they think they're probably used to people thinking, no, we've got massive lawyers, but. No, I'm gonna go for it, and I think it is something that should be spoke about, and they should be aware that people aren't.
Sorry, just to get this straight, this is a product that you were using simply because you had a little bit of stress acne flare up.
Mm-hmm. And it's a well-known brand that I've trusted. It's not just some cheap cosmetic brand online. They're skin doctors. They're all trained. So it's been shit the last few months, but here I am. I'm back.
But this is one of the reasons as well that I just think it's,
sorry to interrupt, I just think it's good to speak about and let other girls know, especially with social media and everything now, just be careful what you're doing, do your research, or if you've got to go to the doctors, don't just think it's a quick fix like I was trying to hope for. But again, you put your trust in these massive brands. I'd understand if I went to some little market board, saw it online and thought, oh, this girl's doing it. I actually seeked and asked for help to someone that's meant to help. Not just for the sake of her doing commission, because I ended up coming out with different all sorts of products when I didn't even ask. I went for one reason. So it's just commission based, just someone that really could not care.
And I think that is a danger, isn't it, nowadays with social media, with this comparison culture that we live in. If I just get this procedure, or if I just buy this product that will...
Or people doing stuff on the cheap side, like aesthetics and everything. You hear all these mad stories. Back in the past, I've had a bit of filler, a bit of Botox, because I've not had anything for years because I'm scared. Nothing wrong. This is going to come out so wrong, but nothing wrong with anyone doing what they want to do to themselves to make themselves better. But it's when people are trying to compare themselves at such a young age as well, and it ends up everyone just moulding a bit, and people are doing it so cheaply now and going overboard, and then it becomes an addiction where I think people are so fixated on you have to look, and all these celebrities, they've ended up getting their lip fillers dissolved, and now young girls can't afford it. It's not the in trend now, so they're now stuck with these big lips. And at a young age, I think the younger you start, you then having to keep up with it. And then by the time you're how old, how do you keep on top of it? And you end up looking like Joan Rivers, and it's crazy. And I've got nothing against anyone, each their own, but I just think it's just a major thing now where back in the day, good clinics and doctors wouldn't. They're like, no, I'm not giving you any more now because you're going to look ridiculous and we don't want to do it. But now it's just again, overselling. And
it's so common practice as well, isn't it, these days? It seems.
Yeah, I mean, Olivia Outwood, I think she's amazing, presenting everything now. She does one on getting fillers and everything done. And this one company was, we don't touch anyone under a certain age. They were agreeing they think it should be a lot older.
But they're few and far between, probably.
Yeah.
There's not. Are those legislations in place, or like you say, they're a supposedly reputable brand?
Or was it just said because of TV?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But then anybody could go to a high street aesthetics place these days.
I know there's a law in now about you have to be where you had to have an MVQ. You have to be more qualified. Doesn't stop everyone now at home just buying a bit of Botox and doing it from their back garage.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Wow. But then that goes back to what we were saying. And then suddenly everyone becomes almost like a clone of each other because they're all getting the same procedures.
Yeah.
You said you've had a bit in the past, but you haven't touched it for years.
No.
Have you had any backlash on social media? Because you've got quite a big following.
Mm.
Do you have anyone saying, oh, yeah, but you've had loads of work done?
Yeah, I can honestly say, I think I'm very, very lucky and blessed. I've never once had any trolling on any social media. Never.
Really?
If anything, I've just had very lovely, lovely comments and niceness. I wouldn't be one to put up with it anyway, and I wouldn't respond. I'd just be like, whatever. But, there's some people which probably destroys people, and it's bullying, isn't it?
I'm guessing the pressure for these young people to look a certain way is leading to them going, well, if I get this lip procedure, I'll look like a Kardashian. If I get this, if I take for men even,
well, it's
steroids.
Even hair, you go to a salon, we've got women just taking a picture of Kim Kardashian and say, oh, I want this hair, and thinking they're going to look like it. It's just because you can ask for the idea of it, but you're not going to walk out looking like Kim K. Do you know what I mean?
But that's what advertising and marketing is.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian sells a fucking leotard or whatever she sells, and everyone thinks they're going to look like her when they wear it.
I think the older you get, though, you do realise things aren't that important to you anymore. I think it sucks to the younger generation. Like, it's mad. I think it's crazy.
But is this why you've diversified in the sense that you've done the music, you want to go into the acting, you want to do stuff that's a bit more...
I like just being creative. I should do more on social media and my agencies and that. I used to come on Shelby, post, I have to be consistent. For me, I can't, it's not in me to do it. I know I do it, but I could earn a lot more money. I could do a lot more social media influencing, but not for me. Like, I have to force myself to do that because my love isn't there for it. Whereas all the other stuff that I've done in life, it's naturally I've wanted to do it, so I do it more and I do it better.
And how did that feel? Or did you notice a time when you saw your, say, social media following rising and perhaps you were considered more of an influencer than a model?
I think I've never been cast as an influencer. Never. I do get it now, but back in the day, I was that busy with modelling. My whole page was just modelling. I wouldn't be influencing at all. Now, if every brand wants you to do it, you have to be on TikTok. I've got like 200 followers on TikTok. It's shite. I just can't do it. I can't get into it.
I don't do any of that.
I really can't do it. But brands now, it's not about you. It's about your TikTok. And my agency goes mad. And I don't know what to do on TikTok. I don't know what.
But again, are you losing jobs to people who've got more followers than you?
Yeah, 100%. But it's just like I've gone on shoots now and they've booked an influencer because they've got hundreds of thousands of followers and they'll do the shoot. And because models, they go and do the job. They're just like in, out, whatever the client wants, you've got to do it. You've got no say. It's your job. You're getting paid for it. But I've been on shoots where they've booked more influencers than models. And then the massive company has come away the next week, not happy with the shoot and then have to redo it all with models. But I think it's a huge thing now. It's all about your following. It's about
getting eyes on the product, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm 31 in April and I'll still do it, but it's not my main focus. I can't be asked to just sit there. It's a dedication. Like a lot of my friends are influencers and I watch them. They take different outfits all day, every day. For me, it's just I don't enjoy it and I can't be bothered. I know I should, but you have to be so consistent with it.
Is that what it is? Consistency.
You have to now post 3-4 times a day. And I'm like, I ain't got time for that, you know.
Well, not if you want to do acting, music, all those things. You'd be on your phone.
And I think it's very, very, takes over your life sometimes. You know, a lot of my friends are huge influencers and they sit there and they're just constantly comparing themselves to other influencers and it's a fake lifestyle. They don't live like that. And that is a big thing for like young girls thinking that everyone's got this perfect money lifestyle. And, you know, everyone should have a designer bag. And
you can be an influencer for anything, really, it seems, these days.
Yeah, like a lot of influencers now, they're doing more well for showing their personalities and being a real person, like having banter, sat at home with no makeup on and they're having that little swear word in there. And because they're real people, there's something they can relate to with an iPhone picture behind the scenes, because that was all magazine days. No one wants to sit there and just see someone glammed up, edited to F. And, you know, I want to see it. Everyone wants to see a bit of funniness, a bit of personality, a bit of something they can relate to now.
Where does that leave the creativity of our industry?
Exactly. Then? But again, it's trends, isn't it? In just a few years' time, it could all go back to, you never know. Social medias and everything could shut down at any point. And
is that the point where you go, well, that's why it's great that I've got the acting, it's great that I've got the music, I've got these other strings?
Not necessarily, because for me, I'm one of them, like I'll always do something. I'm never panicking thinking, oh shit, what will I do? Because I used to just be a model. I'll try anything and new doors open. I might fall in love with something else and never want to perform again. I don't know. I just go with what I love at the time and don't overthink it. Obviously I need to make a living, but luckily everything I do make a living in it. But you never know what's around the corner and how technology is now. Everyone could be out of a job. So it's just constantly just keeping yourself busy, finding what you like to do and sometimes hoping for the best. Or if not, just keep putting the lottery on, do you know what I mean?
Well, there's elements of luck involved, but I think across your story, the underlying thing that I'm noticing is the drive.
Yeah.
When you want something,
I think as well, with modelling, like you can go down different avenues the older you get. There is a certain age limit on certain things. A lot of the e-com brands now want the younger girls because that's their market. A lot of my work now, I want to get more into beauty, like more commercial, and because it suits my age better. Yeah, I don't know.
Again,
I just always don't put my eggs in one basket because that's just not me anyway. Like my mind's, you know, one minute I want to be a detective. I'm thinking I'll volunteer and try and hopefully get a job in the police. it's one of my crazy ideas. I'll probably give it a go at some point and then get bored of it and be like, okay, what's next? But that's just how I am. I think a lot of creative people are like that, though.
I agree, but not necessarily for detectives in the police
No, but I
force.
love my crimes. I want to be a forensic detective, and it's never going to happen. You never know, though. But that's just something that I love watching my crime programs. I've always loved stuff like that. So that's just an interest of mine. Yeah, I'm really good at doing makeup, but I've never, ever tried to be a makeup or wanted to push. I could do, but my love for it is just not there. I have to be interested in something. Like, I'll give everything a go, but I lose my interest if I'm not really interested in it.
And where's the interest lie for you right now in the acting?
I want to really push my acting, yeah. But I've found my love for modelling again, do you know what I mean?
But you can do both.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But my main focus now is pushing my acting. Because I feel like it's more, you can show more of yourself, and modelling sometimes, again, it's a bit soul destroying. You are just sat there like...
Well, you're the mannequin. Sometimes it's a still image. You
exactly.
aren't able
and
to...
It's just, you're there for what the client wants. You know, sometimes 100 outfits a day. It's just, yeah, I'm fed up. Stop prodding me. I'm like, but how can you get angry? Because it's your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, acting is my main focus.
And with an upcoming BBC drama,
Mm-hmm.
that seems to be, again,
I mean, I could flop it on set. Do you know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah, maybe, but
I don't think so.
You seem to have opened those doors for yourself with this drive.
Yeah, and that's just recently as well. And I don't have agents or nothing. Sometimes you sort of push yourself, haven't you? And then sometimes the right thing people will then be interested in you. But it's like anything to begin with. Most people aren't going to have an agent when you first start, because what have you actually got? You've got no content, you've got no portfolio to show. But again, sometimes I've had huge agencies in modelling in the past, and I've got a lot of my work through myself, and they take commission. I've gave them big brands. I end up then having to go through my agency. You don't know how much agencies take as well. And if you can get work yourself, that's why I'm always non-exclusive, because why if I can get my own work? Because I've gone from agency to agency, and luckily I've built relationships with brands where I know I've got that constant work, being self-employed.
But sometimes that can be scary, can't it? Because what happens when you get the month when you've got no job?
Yeah, again, but, you know, agencies, like, be with the world's biggest agency and get one job or no jobs.
That was a big change in our industry, wasn't it? When people started doing a lot more direct booking. I suppose, again, social media opened it up, going, oh, there's the model's Instagram, or there's the model's social media. Let's just send her a message.
I remember I used to do it sneakily behind my agency's back. I couldn't post because I was exclusive. Your agency would go mad, but I'm like, at the same time, unless you're telling me and signing me a massive amount of money each month. And I think, you know, any model, any self-employed person would understand that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's about survival and
I mean, people don't want the agency fees anymore.
Yeah.
I know it is good. You get your bigger brands, and it's sometimes more safety, or if the client's taking the piss and the agency then deals with it, rather than you feeling a bit awkward about saying no to stuff on set.
But like you say, some of those
very,
bigger brands are now just booking influencers anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it'll be direct.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got yourself back into modelling. Acting is the next big thing. You've got an upcoming BBC thing that you're going to be working on.
Yeah.
What would be a big goal for you? In both of those, actually, have you got any goals in terms of things that you're yet to achieve in modelling, or?
Yeah, I'd love to land a massive Dior beauty campaign, or just more campaigns, more down the beauty product lines and massive perfume advert. Yeah, just more stuff like that.
And what about within the acting? Because obviously this is quite a new thing for you. What's the
obviously
big...
a Hollywood star.
Hollywood star. You actually want a Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got you in now before you're too big to even dream of looking at the Creative Nolan podcast and go,
no, definitely.
She forgets the little people, folks. She forgets the little
films,
people.
Basically.
Okay. With your drive, have you got an idea how you're going to make that happen?
Just keep auditioning,
No, I just wonder whether you had a bit of a plan, because every time you've set your mind on something, you seem to have had this...
I've never really had a plan. I've just gone for it, like...
Okay, that's interesting. So you've never really had a plan. Like you say, doors have opened for you.
I mean, I don't think you can have too much of a plan sometimes, because...
But the world
I know
you're
people that have
working
landed massive gigs and roles because they've just been there at the right time, they've just met the right person, or they've just had that one lucky audition. Not lucky, but the right audition. And so... just got to keep at it with anything, haven't you? And keep trying different things. Okay, maybe this one monologue didn't work. Try something else. It's all about trial and error with anything, isn't it? And just keep trying.
But you've always been the one to put yourself in those situations. Mm-hmm. You've opened those doors.
Yeah. So I'll keep opening them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm interested in,
Yeah.
because obviously over my career, I've known a lot of models, and I wouldn't say that I've met many with a similar drive to you
Yeah.
in all of these aspects. So I'm just wondering, did those second and third places at the youth ballet really ingrain something in you to drive to be the best, the best, the best?
Maybe, yeah. But I think some people are just naturally like that, aren't they?
Yeah, I would say that there's natural.
I'm all or nothing, even like relationships, anything. I just give it my all and see how
Is that a
far.
good thing or a bad thing?
I'd rather know I've tried rather than if it works out, it works out. If it don't, it don't. But I'd rather know I've tried or give something if I felt it at the time my all, rather than sit there thinking, oh, what if, or regretting something. I mean, I've had some massive regrets in relationships, but at the time it felt right. And that's just life. I'll probably do it over and over again. But
Oh, that's the same with jobs and,
yeah,
like
exactly.
you say, in life, in learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's all life lessons.
Yeah.
What do you think is a good life lesson that you've learned from your modelling career?
Probably the resilience of the setbacks and being told this or that. But
It's developed a thick skin, because you don't seem to.
yes, don't get me wrong. I've had my moments completely,
Yeah, of
and I still
course.
do. Like, oh shit, why am I not getting that role? Or have I lost it? Is it done? But I think every person thinks that, and every model goes through that.
You've because of all that. I've maybe putting yourself in front of castings, in front of auditions for the ballet.
Yeah.
You've always been under scrutiny, so perhaps that's a little bit easier for you to deal with now.
I think it's like those kind of industries where you have to try and be on your A game and stand out. And yeah, you do want to be at the top of keep the ball rolling.
But you've got to be quite tough.
Yeah, but I think I've done that from a young age, and I don't know. You put me on the spot.
What, you wouldn't consider yourself tough?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But I can't tell you where that's come from or if any of my modelling or anything's had that to do with it, because I think I've just always been like that.
But I think it must have done, because, as we said, you've put yourself in those situations
yeah, I suppose
to be judged.
Like I've been told I'm too short or whatever, but I've then ended up proving everyone wrong. So I think it's come from experience and...
Right, exceptionally short.
Yeah.
For a model.
I know.
But this is what it goes to. It goes down to...
I've gone and proven that, it's not always the case. And especially now that fashion's a lot different. There's a lot more diversity.
Yeah, you don't have to be 6-foot runway model anymore.
Yeah, I think it's all part and parcel of like growing up in the dance and then modelling at a young age and doing it full time and just going out there and going for it. I loved going on the tubes at young age. I loved bopping about, going to different castings and yeah.
You found it exciting?
Yeah.
Do you still find it exciting?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Think we're lucky to be in an industry like ours?
Yeah. I'm very lucky to have the job I've had and still do. Very, very lucky. Thanks, Mum.
Yeah, I was going to say thanks, Mum and Dad, for the genetic lottery winning
I'm
genes.
very, very lucky, very lucky.
No, but I think it's important to say that because
very blessed.
You are,
and I've been very blessed. And
you are who you are.
Yeah, of course.
And
some people that work frigging hours and hours and are struggling to even get food. So I'm very, very blessed, yeah. I have also worked at it very, very hard and continue to do so. So I won't just take that away from myself. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone should always give themselves credit when it's due.
Again, goes back to that misconception. Oh, she's just a pretty face.
Yeah.
And she just does
this.
I mean, yes, you are.
Yeah.
And you have won that genetic lottery, but you've worked bloody hard.
Yeah.
To get to where you are.
And in a way, you have to find your own kind of niche in it as well and find out what's your strongest points and what works for you. And I'm never going to be a Victoria's Secret model. And I always wanted to and dreamed, and that got me down sometimes. Because I'd love to have done that, but sometimes you have to face the facts and acceptance. So
that's a stretch you were for.
That is not going to be me. Do you know what I mean? I like my burgers too much and my wine, and I'm far too short. But yeah, so it's finding like your avenue in anything, really, isn't it? And your strong points are, again, acceptance of not everything is going to, what we all want to do in the world is never good. Not, I wouldn't say never, but, a bit of reality sometimes.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm never going to be some mad scientist. Do you know what I mean?
You never know. You might be a forensic scientist in the future, like you said.
Yeah, that's because I like crime, but I'm not.
Or maybe you'll be a criminal. Who knows?
Who knows?
You'll be a serial killer.
I mean, who says I'm not?
Well, so this podcast might be used as future evidence.
A few speeding tickets, that's all.
A few speeding tickets. Okay, well, I think we've spoken about a lot there, Shelby. We've
Yeah.
got a bit of a closing tradition on the Creative Noah Land podcast where we like our guests to leave some sort of quote for our listeners, but also to suggest someone in your network that you find inspiring that might be an interesting guest on our podcast.
Okay.
So,
which one do you want first?
In any order you like.
Okay. I would suggest having on your podcast a very, very good friend of mine, Lindsay Matthews, who is a female DJ and she's worked at it years and years and years and she's smashed it now. I'm so proud of her. And I think she would give you a massive more insight on the DJ world and music and what she's had to struggle with and what she probably still does. But yeah, she's just a cool person and she's got many interests. She's an interesting girl, but yeah, I love her. So
amazing. That sounds like a perfect person for the podcast.
Yeah.
And a quote.
Oh God, here we go. I don't have many quotes. Like I'm sure people have come up with all sorts, like Buddha and everything, but mine would just probably just don't take life seriously. Love yourself. Be kind to each other. You know, it's not hard to just smile and be nice to anyone. And yeah, just keep going and keep pushing yourself and be happy.
Well, there you go. That's a pretty good place to end it.
Peace out, man.
Brilliant.
Live, laugh and love.
Oh, God. Okay. There you go. A multitude of quotes in there from Shelby Billingham. Shelby, thanks for doing the podcast.
And if there's any directors out there, book me for films. Thank you.
There you go. Any directors listening, Shelby is available for all major film
There
roles.
you go.
Shelby, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
We'll check in. Maybe we'll see how we'll last in the next 10 years. Maybe we've got another 10 years under our belt of being pals.
There we go. You'll be doing interviews with me on the red carpet, hopefully.
Well, actually, in 10 years' time, you never know. You might be that Hollywood star and I will be calling you up.
Reach out to my agent then.
Yeah, then it'll be like, oh, who are you? Little people.
No,
never. Creative Noah Land what?
Never.
Anyway, thanks, Shelby.
Thank you.
Love you. You're a star.
Love you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Noah Land podcast. If you found anything inspiring or useful in this episode, please consider subscribing or maybe sharing the episode with a friend. Anything you can do to help promote and support Creative Noah Land is so beneficial and I really appreciate it. Check out the website and sign up to the newsletter to be the first to know of everything that's going on here in Creative Noah Land. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, explore, inspire and create.
Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way. And so, therefore, it's so important to consider this question: what do I desire?